Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, Tag12, however you call me, I don't really care. Welcome back to World of Tanks, Advent Calendar Day 21. It's the Lorraine 40t. Now this used to be a horrible tier 9 medium tank, and that's where I originally had it from. So I didn't have to pick this up, I got it when it turned into a premium tank. And as a tier 8 premium, this tank actually is pretty damn good. So if they would have just, turned a couple of things around, they probably would have been able to make some tier 9s, some decent tier 8s, and some tier 8s, some decent tier 9s. Talking about premium vehicles that at tier 8 could be tier 9s. But either way, the Lorraine 40t will set you back 9,900 gold. Now, unfortunately, it's too early. I can't check into the advent calendar in here, at least, because it's still not the 24 hours that have passed, but I have to record it right now because I don't have time in like an hour. So you just have to trust me. I know that it's coming in here because the Asia World of Tanks Asia advent calendar has the same selections. They're just 6 hours ahead of time, so it's the exact same price. It's the exact same vehicle. So the Lorraine 40t, 9,900 gold is very hefty. It's quite a big, large sum, but you get a vehicle that has a 4-round magazine and does 300 alpha damage with a single shot. So you have all the things that makes it a French tank, and that is basically, you have very good penetration, you have decent damage. I'd say for a tier 8 medium tank, that damage is quite nice. Your rate of fire is not the best, and you have an auto-loading system. The gun traverse, on the other hand, with 39.42 degrees per second, is quite okay. It's not the worst for a medium tank, but it's also not the best. 8 degrees of gun depression, on the other hand, that used to be the norm. That used to be very good, but now it's the norm, so it's decent. And your aim time and dispersion isn't too bad. Now, the dispersion usually on French tanks is pretty horrible. The aim time is also quite bad. That's why it makes it a bit awkward to play these vehicles from time to time. And that's why you can see I even have, once more, my favorite equipment, the gun laying drive, because it gives me just a better aim time. And with the consumables and with the skills I have, I also do increase that a bit. The DPM is not the very best because it's an auto-loading tank, but having that ability of having, 4 rounds at your disposal to put into one enemy, doing 1,200 damage on average, that is very, very nice. That is very handy indeed. In between the shots, there's a 2.5 second reload time, and also there is a 33.61 second reload time for the entire clip to reload that. I do have vents on this vehicle because I had vents lying around. I still remember that. And because obviously back in the days there was no equipment 2.0, so vents was the one thing I just put into the slot. You could also run the turbocharger, but we'll get to the acceleration in a moment. Let's first talk about the ammo types that we have. We have AP, we have APCR, and we have high explosive. APCR has by far the best shell velocity, but having 1,000 meters per second shell velocity with AP shells isn't too bad either. You can work with that, but having 1,250 is a very big step up. 263 millimeters of pen, on the other hand, that's only 30 millimeters more, but that could give you the opportunity to penetrate some tanks that you weren't able to do prior. But since the pen is so close to one another, and 232 millimeters is really great, even at tier 9 and tier 10, for a tier 8 medium vehicle, you will almost never have to resort to premium ammo unless you really have to go up against all these tier 10 tanks. Let's move on to survivability. This tank is basically a French vehicle, so I don't really have to say more. It's huge, it's very large, it's very long, it's very tall for a medium tank as well. We can compare it real fast to this Amex Assault, which is basically twice the height. The Lorraine is twice the height with the turret on top. So yeah, your tank is very large. It's very difficult to miss this vehicle. The armor is pretty bad as well. 40 millimeters, 45 on the turret, 30, 30, 20, 25. No, 25, 20. So yeah, don't expect anything to bounce. Armor is not your strong suit. Your armor is basically mobility. Getting away from shit, running from things, that's what you were supposed to be doing. I'm not sure if it's the French doctrine to have mobile tanks that can always reposition and come back and strike again, but it could be either way. I don't think I'm not sure if they built the Lorraine 40t. I think they built the Somua. They built the AMX 5100 as well. Could be that the Lorraine 40t has been built, but I'm not really certain about that. Either way, it weighs 43 tons for heavy or for a medium tank of this size. That's quite light in my opinion. The engine power is 850, so you get very nice 60 kilometers per hour top speed on this vehicle, and the specific power to weight with 21.01 horsepower per ton is okay for a medium tank. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst. I think you can really move this tank around quite nicely, and if you use the turbocharger class 1, you'll get 65 kilometers per hour, you'll get maybe 23 horsepower per ton, and the traverse speed of 41.62 is quite decent as well. But you can see I have all the different equipments and skills to increase that by a bit as well. Consumer wise, this tank is actually not the worst if you think about it, because it's such a large tank. 483 points, like being able to still to have 27.14% concealment on a stationary vehicle, and also on a moving vehicle 21%. That's not too bad. So yeah, I think you can definitely make it work if you need to, and I'd expect it a lot worse. So let's go over to spotting. It's 420 meters view range. Now, the base view range on this vehicle is 380. As you can see, we have upped it by 40 meters without any premium consumables, but with crew training and with the equipment right here. If you want to increase that, now, the issue right now is I really don't like the aim time if it's too high. I really don't like the aim time on French medium tanks. 2.24 seconds, I can live with that. But if I take away the extended enhanced gun lane drive, it will go up to 2.4, 2.5. If I take away the equipment, improved ventilations, it will go up to 2.6. That will take a very long time. Now, the accuracy doesn't really matter too much to me, but I really need the aim time. So right here, I have the vertical stabilizer class 1, because I always have the feeling that these French tanks have horrible dispersion when you turn the turret. And I think it really gave this tank a bit of a buff in terms of dispersion. That's one of the reasons why I put this on. But maybe I could take that away and I could put something else in the vehicle to just increase some other stats. Now, spotting wise, 420 is not too bad. If I also want to have more of that, I could just go with premium consumables. I can show you guys real fast. Strong coffee right here. Then we have 440 meters base view range. It will also increase all the other things, but I will lose my fire extinguisher. Then if I use a directive, which would be vent purge, which gives me an additional 5 meters base view range. Yeah, 445 meters, that's much more how I like it. That's how I like to run my tanks. I also have more DPM. And then we can obviously go to the field modifications. Now, I haven't played this tank a lot, so I didn't really invest a lot into the field modifications. But if we take a look at the field modifications, you can see right here that you can increase the turret traverse time. I don't think that's necessary, so I either leave this open. You don't have to pick it, but you can pick it. I would either pick this or I wouldn't pick anything. And then on the other hand, you could decrease the you could increase the accuracy, or you could decrease the dispersion. So because I have the equipment, I would probably go for increased accuracy, which would be even more nice. And then you have the opportunity to go for even more camouflage, which is quite nice, or less suspension repair time. Now, obviously, these are choices everyone has to find for themselves, but I would probably go for increased camo rating because I like to be stealthy with French tanks. And then with the scouting or survivability tab, that's a bit of an issue. Now, obviously, if you use not binoculars, but if you use coated optics, you don't have to rely on other things. You don't have to rely on premium as much, or at least the coffee. Then I'd have to see probably either it would be the vertical stabilizer class 1 or it would be vents. Those could be changed around, but I like my loadout currently as it is, and then I would just pick something else. I would maybe just pick the thing is, it wouldn't help me at all the last slot, because none of these are survivability or spotting. So yeah, probably would change it around until I go there. But either way, this is a very good tank. It's a lot of fun. Having this flexibility of 4 rounds and being able to flank around enemies and putting 4 rounds into them, having enough mobility and decent concealment even for the size of this tank, and having this very nice 100mm gun that you have on the Somo SM on a medium tank is very, very nice. So as you can see right here, with all the things, we can decrease all of that by a bit. It obviously is quite expensive to run, because directives and premium consumables will make it quite expensive, but at the same time, if you don't have to use premium ammo, well, you're looking at a very profitable tank. You just have to have the right loadout, and I would love to hear what your loadout would be on this tank, because my loadout obviously is just, I put my loadout together and I don't really always think very thoroughly, but I do put a little bit of thought into it, and with the field modifications you have to think differently nowadays. So yeah, either way, I would really think this is a tank that is worth picking up, even for 9,900. It's a lot of gold, but it's a lot of fun. Obviously, there are now other vehicles out there like the Châtillon Bourrasque, which is probably better than the Lorraine 40t just because of its size, and it also has this burst potential. But the Lorraine 40t is a classic, and this classic just does not get bad, even with other premium tanks that have come into the game. You just have to have this very specific playstyle when you play the Lorraine 40t, but it's not a bad pickup. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I see you guys on the next one. Until then, have a good one. Peace out.